Hello, my retro friends. Today we're going to do a movie review. My favorite vampire movie, Twilight.
Damn!
Just kidding. That movie is absolute trash. It'll never be mentioned here again. We're going to talk about a film that makes teenage vampires cool. 1987's The Lost Boys. This is a rated R movie. Runs about 130 minutes, so directed by Joe Schumacher and stars Jason Patric, Edward Herrmann, Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, Alex Winter.
I'm Bill S. Preston, Esquire!
And Kiefer Sutherland, along with others to round out the cast of excellent actors. This movie came out in July of 1987 with a budget of $8.5 million and did $38 million at the opening box office. Then on top of that, it took on its life of its own, doing very well in video stores, along with being a mainstay of cable. This is another one of those movies along like Roadhouse. This time of year, we'll see it on TBS all the time. I'm sure HBO will run it too. I think a movie theater would be wise to re-release it here in October. I think there's a following for it. The plot is simple. It's easy to follow along. Brothers Michael and Sam, along with their mother, move in with their grandfather in the made-up city of Santa Clara. The boys start going out on their own, exploring the boardwalk. Michael's bouncing around. He buys himself a jacket, gets his ear pierced. Honestly, it looks like he's almost 30, but I think his character is about 18. While Sam is going to the comic book stores, kind of exploring the boardwalk as well, dressed on his very cool, very 80s civilian garb. Michael starts following a woman around. The character is named Star, who hangs out with a biker gang led by the charismatic David, played very well by Kiefer Sutherland. So there was a little bit back and forth, but eventually Michael starts hanging out with David and his crew. Then they have like kind of a lair. And David explains where this was an old hotel back at the turn of the century in the early 1900s that was swallowed up by an earthquake. And down there, they just kind of hang out. Stars hang out as well. They talk Michael into drinking this, it looks like wine out of a wine bottle. And then they have some Chinese. Michael, while eating, starts hallucinating and, the drug is starting to take effect. The next day, Michael sleeps in way too late. He has to watch his brother. He gives his mother attitude. The mother, played very well by Diane Wiest, starts working at this video store owned by a character named Max, played by Edward Herrmann. They start dating, and, that's kind of a subplot. Meanwhile, Michael's starting to get an attitude. He doesn't want to hang out with brother Sam any longer. Sam notices that his reflection is fading in the mirror. And at that point, he realizes that Michael is turning into a vampire. So he freaks out.
You're creature of the night, Michael. Just like out of a comic book. You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
Michael does not want to be a vampire. He didn't realize what he was doing. During the movie, they explained that if you're only a half a vampire, you could be made whole. You could be turned back into a full human if you kill the head vampire. Sam, while exploring the boardwalk, runs into a comic book store and runs into the Frog Brothers. The Frog Brothers are just as young as Sam. They're like 16 years old. Corey Feldman is the lead brother, and he puts on this rough voice while talking. It's kind of out of place, but it kind of works for the characters. It's just weird to hear him go from Mouth of the Goonies to be like this rough and tough guy.
We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Right.
The Frog Brothers are giving Sam comics to read about how to fight vampires and stuff like that. They've been doing it for a while. These guys feel like they'd end up like in 2024 would be preppers. I'd hang out with them, but they're a little weird. They do go on a raid to where the vampires stay, and again, they're explaining the lore of vampires. They're kind of laying down the rules, which is good. So you always know what the characters' motivations are. They do kill one of the vampires. They escape the lair and go back to Grandpa's house for the final confrontation. In the meantime, they are prepping. They're getting holy water, tons of garlic, sharpening stakes, all the cliches that you would see for a vampire movie. As expected, the vampires do show up at nightfall, and one by one, the vampires are killed off throughout the battle, leaving just Dave and Michael to fight it out in the last confrontation. David is killed by Michael at the end. Star and Michael are looking at each other like, why are we not turning back? It is reiterated that the head vampire has to be killed, and apparently David is not the head vampire. So now they're wondering who the head vampire is. Next shows up is Sam and Michael's mother, and followed by Max after their date. And Max explains to everyone's like, you invited me to your house, all your powers are gone, I am the head vampire. I was going to make you boys part of my family, and your mother would follow along when she knew that you guys were vampires. Michael says no, and he starts fighting with Max, getting his butt handed to him, until Grandpa crashes through, crashing his truck into the house, shooting a bunch of stakes. One catches Max. Max dies.
One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.
And Star and Michael then turned into full-on humans. This movie was directed by Joel Schumacher. He did it in a style that looks like a 90-minute MTV video for a hairband. I like that. And you can tell that he's had a lot of experiences because he did direct quite a few music videos. A couple for In Excess. You hear In Excess played about 3 or 4 times throughout the movie. The style, it's gritty. It does look like, you can tell this was done in 1987. It looks like the 80s, but ramped up to 11. So everything is there. The wild clothes, the mullets. It does have that 1980s look to it, but just cranked up just a little bit. We love Joe Schumacher. He did the excellent film Falling Down. A lot of people like to give him brief about shooting the 1990s Batman movies. I don't think they're horrible, those Batman movies. Yes, they're washed in 1990s neon. Bat nipples aside, they're still worth watching. The writing is on point. You know exactly what all the motivations are. You know what the characters want to do. They do an excellent job weaving the vampire lore in and out of the movie so you know what the rules are. That's so important with vampire movies because every movie's a little bit different. How can you defeat a vampire? How does a vampire turn you into one of their followers or a vampire? It was kind of a twist to see the bottle of wine would turn you into a half bottle rather than being bitten. So that was interesting. I like that. Also, they put a couple jokes in there. My favorite one is when Sam discovers that Michael is turning into a vampire. Pacing again is excellent. You're never bored. Your mind never wanders from the movie. And this being an 80s movie, it has an excellent soundtrack. Loaded with In Excess that I mentioned before, Lou Gramm, and Echo and the Bunnymen. It is rated R for some violence and some gore, and then there's some swearing, but otherwise it's fine for the family. Joe Schumacher also did, with his limited budget, he did a great job with the special effects and the makeup. Special effects were all practical, some explosions, some fire, but everything was done practical, and they look good. They hold up today. And the makeup is borderline excellent. You could tell these guys are vampires when they turn. So my final thoughts on the movie. Watch it. Really. I mean, I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen it 100 times, but have your kids watch it. I would have no troubles watching this with my teenage daughters and son. Get another generation enjoying this movie. On IMDb, it has a rating of 7.2, which is solid. I would actually imagine it'd be a little higher. Rotten Tomatoes gives a critic score of 76, viewers an 85% score, respectively. Oddly enough, as of right now, it's not streaming for free or included into a package. So you can't find it on Netflix. You can pay for it like $5 if you want to see it on Amazon. What I always say, buy physical media. You can buy it on Amazon for $5 to $10 depending on the version. I mean, if you want to buy the 4K steel box, it'll probably cost you a bit more. But if you just want your regular run-of-the-mill DVD or Blu-ray, you could probably get it for $5 to $10. Buy that disc, pop it in, keep it forever. You're going to pick it up again, I assure you. Thanks so much for watching, and keep it retro, my friends.